The next topic is the art of pitching, which is one of my favorite subjects because if I'm breathing, I'm pitching. I love to pitch. So step one with pitching is you have to set the stage. You have to set yourself up for success. And the way you do this is you prepare. So you get to the meeting early. You bring multiple laptops because if you have only one laptop and it's not working, you're hosed. You bring multiple cables. If I were you, I would bring my own projector. Projectors are small and cheap, so you absolutely know everything works together. So set the stage. You don't need to get in there like 1 minute before the meeting is supposed to start and try to make everything work. Set the stage. Prep yourself. My second tip for pitching is to explain yourself in the first minute. Bill and I have sat through literally thousands of pitches. In fact, I'll give you a little violation of HIPAA. I have a disease called Meniere's. And the 3 symptoms of Meniere's are tinnitus, hearing loss, and vertigo. That defines Meniere's. And there are many theories about what causes Meniere's. Too much salt, too much alcohol, too much stress, which basically describes my life. But my theory about Meniere's is the reason why I have this disease because I listened to so many crappy pitches in the last 20 years. So now I get dizzy, my head is ringing, I can't hear. It's because of these crappy pitches. So the crappy pitch that we always get starts with a CEO who wants to explain his freaking life story from the moment he was born to the moment he got here. Because he read someplace that people invest in teams, and so he wants to build this case that he's a great team leader. And so he tells his whole life story, and frankly we don't really care about your life story. And so 15 minutes into this presentation, the CEO has explained his or her life story. They're talking about the opportunities in this market. They're citing all these great consulting studies, and no one has ever come into a pitch to Garage and said, well, we have this crappy team in this crappy market. Everybody says it's great, okay? So 15 minutes into the presentation, Bill and I are sitting there, we're wondering, what the hell do these people do? We know, that their ancestors came in the Mayflower. We know they went to Dartmouth. We know they took .NET classes at Microsoft. We know that 1% of a $100 billion market is a big number. We know all that, but we still don't know what they do. Is it hardware? Is it software? Is it a service? We have no clue. So in the first minute, for God's sake, explain what the hell you do. We're enterprise software. We're a service. We're a website. We make hardware. Tell us what you do. Because until you tell us what you do, we're sitting there wondering, what the hell do these people do? And if we're wondering what the hell you do, then honestly, we're not listening to you. We're still trying to figure out what the hell you do. So that's tip number 2. Explain yourself in the first minute. Is that not true, Bill?
Absolutely.
Okay. The third tip from me is called the Guy-Kawasaki PowerPoint rule, 10, 20, 30. 10, 20, 30 rule is that you should use 10 slides. You should be able to give those 10 slides in 20 minutes, and you should use the 30-point font. Let me explain each point. 10 slides. In a meeting, if you can get 10 thoughts across well, you say it well, your audience understands it, you're doing very, very well. It's hard to get 10 points across. So don't show up with 60 slides. If you believe that pitching is about shock and awe, it's simply not true. You're not supposed to show up with 60 slides and bludgeon people into seeing your vision, seeing your passion, seeing why they should invest in your company, work for your company, do whatever with your company. 10 slides. 10 very basic slides. Limit yourself to these 10 basic slides. If you're pitching to investors, it's slides like, first of all, what do you do? Who's on your team? Who's the competition? What's your business model? How are you going to introduce your product? It's those very basic questions, right? Don't go off into the weeds. 10 slides. The 20 part of the 10, 20, 30 rule. Why 20? Well, most meetings are 60 minutes. I grant you that. But unfortunately, 95% of this world still uses Windows laptops. And if you use a Windows laptop, you know damn well that it takes 40 minutes to work with the projector. So if everybody used a Macintosh, this would be the 10-60-30 rule. But such is not the case. So it has to be the 10-20-30 rule because many people need 40 minutes to work with the projector. Now previously I already said, well, set yourself up for success. Come with 2 laptops, come with your own cables, come with your own projectors, make sure everything works. But I know some of you are not going to listen to me. So the great disciplining is, can you give your 10 slides in 20 minutes? Hallelujah if you have more time. But limit yourself, test yourself. If you can do it in 20 minutes, you can certainly do it in 60. But if you can do it in 60, it doesn't mean you can do it in 20. The third part of this rule, the 30. The 30 stands for the point size. So you want big fonts. And the reason why you want big fonts is it's a disciplining force. If you use 8, 10, or 12 point, you're going to put a lot of text. If you put a lot of text, you're going to read the text. And when you read the text, one slide into your presentation, the audience is going to figure out this bozo is reading his slides verbatim. I can read silently to myself faster than this bozo can read it to me. So why don't I just read it to myself? And then you lose your audience. So 30 is a nice size font. Take your existing PowerPoint slides and select all and make everything 30 points. And then see how much text gets off the page. Like how much text would you have to remove? Remove all that text. A good rule of thumb, if you don't like 30 as, it's too dogmatic, figure out who the oldest person is in your audience. Divide his or her age by 2. Talking to 50, 60-year-old people, 25 to 30 points. Someday I grant you may be pitching to a 16-year-old VC. Okay, that day use the 8-point font. But until that day, 10 slides, 20 minutes, 30-point font. And now is a very good exercise. I want you to take your existing PowerPoint presentation. I want you to count how many slides you have. I guarantee you it's not 10. So now limit yourself to 10. Take those 10 slides, select them all, change everything to 30 points, and see how much text you can really have. And then practice in front of a camera, giving those 10 slides in 20 minutes. So if you really have courage, upload to the community your 10 slides. And we'll have at it. 10 slides, 20 minutes, 30-point font. The third part of this great pitch is during the meeting, essentially, you should shut up, you should take notes. Towards the end of the meeting, summarize what you heard, regurgitate what you heard, and then follow up later. Most entrepreneurs don't do this. They get into the passion and they get into this mode where they want to argue, they want to explain. And so rather than letting the meeting flow and using it as an educational process, they want to argue. And that makes the meeting go longer and less productive. You probably won't get to the end. So my recommendation is not that you avoid questions or not that you don't provide additional illustrations or additional insights. But generally speaking, you should shut up and take notes and then answer these questions later after you've had time to think about it, after you've had time to really build a case. But don't try to, face off one-on-one in the meeting. Let the meeting flow smoothly. If nothing else, the people in the meeting will think, this entrepreneur is very smart. This entrepreneur listened to me. This is an unusual entrepreneur. You may just be shutting up, but they're going to view it as, this entrepreneur is smart. This entrepreneur knows how to gain knowledge. It's a very useful tip. So shut up, take notes, regurgitate, clarify later. Do all that. Having said all that, let me tell you what I think is the best pitch. Bill might not agree, but I think the best pitch is no PowerPoint at all. The best pitch is you come in and you show us a product, a service, a website that's working. You show us that the dogs are already eating the food. 1,000 people are signing up per day. You show us this kind of stuff that we don't have to imagine. We don't have to listen to your fantasies about how great you're going to be because you already have a prototype. You have a working model. That's the best pitch because now we don't have to listen to all your bullshit. we could just see that, yeah, people are doing this. And that is the best pitch of all. No PowerPoint at all. Just pure demo. That's my ideal pitch.